Let's see. I'll just check it one time. We good. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Detroit is Different podcast studios. And in studio, I got a brother that I've known for a minute. We actually worked together, not like directly, but enough of time walking in rehearsal, seeing this man orchestrate choreography. More so, well, not that, but like bringing it together. It's like choreography, singing, and theater, and acting. The whole 9 yards for a production. One Sleepy Night Detroit. Something cool. Y'all can check it out on the archives. It's been recorded. Y'all probably can check it out soon, but that's not the only experience he has. Theater is really where he comes from. That's his background, the foundation. And he's here in the city of Detroit offering it to the people and also providing opportunities for not just actors, but across the board. So much of the production takes place behind the scenes for the actor to look amazing on stage. And also writers, the whole gambit. The brother has experience, and it's like, man, how are you this young and have done all this stuff? But we're going to find out a whole lot more. John Sloan, how you feeling today?
I'm doing well, man. I appreciate you. It's been a while since somebody called me that young, but I'll take it. I will take it.
You're young based on all the things you've done.
Well, thank you, man.
That's what I'm saying. Now, in reference to pick up basketball, pick somebody else.
No, don't do that. My knees won't let me do it.
It's like, yes, you would get, it'd be like,
that'll be a problem.
Yeah, come
That'll be a
on. Yes, but experience, brother, experience.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
So, we start these Detroit is Different with your Detroit story, and I definitely know it travels many places, but the roots, your family.
Yeah.
How many generations deep is your people to the city of Detroit?
Well, okay, so my pops and all my dad's side of the family is from Louisville.
Okay.
And they came up here through Chicago.
All right.
My mom's side is one that's really been here for a minute.
Okay.
From Hattiesburg, Kentucky.
Gotcha.
And came up here. My grandfather used to drive the trolley. Downtown. My grandmother used to, work in people's homes, domestic worker, and then worked in schools. And then my mom and my auntie were music teachers in Detroit Public Schools for years.
Okay.
Which is kind of how I got my love for music and theater and art.
All right, so we gonna go to, first off, missing in the trolley. So certainly shout out to Jer and some others that have people that at one point in time, you guys, man, I'm so old. Okay, if you all ever have seen Rice-A-Roni, Rice-A-Roni used to have a commercial.
The San Francisco treat.
Yeah, so it'd be like these little trains that would go through. Yeah. And Detroit has some trolleys. Detroit sold some trolleys actually like in the 2000s. And right now they're still being in use, I want to say, in San Francisco. So they definitely worked, and at one point in time during my lifetime, I mean, maybe the trolleys were active just a short time when I was alive, but you could still see the tracks going through most of downtown.
You could definitely still see the tracks going through downtown. And people, I'm not trying to hate on the Q line, but it wasn't, because that Q line goes, from one point to one point, but there were trolleys everywhere. Yeah. Going down Michigan Avenue, Grand Street, all the major arteries. That's what my grandfather did for years.
It was public transportation.
It was public transportation.
I think the Q line is more like, okay, I work downtown.
Right.
And I need to park over in New Center.
Yeah.
Or it's like I'm trying to go downtown, and I'd rather park in New Center.
Yeah.
And it's free.
Yeah.
So that is a different feel. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's people mover like transportation.
Yes, it is. Yes.
You know what I mean?
In a circle.
And yes, basically. Yeah. But the trolleys went everywhere.
It was everywhere. And then after they got rid of the trolleys, my grandfather, he did the bus. He drove the bus.
Oh, man.
And so he knew the whole city. You could wake him up out of a dead sleep and be like, how do you get from? And he would tell you, you got to drive down over here. And,
One of my favorite interviews was with the old D-Dop driver. What route did he run most?
I don't even remember.
Okay,
I was a kid.
It was too little.
Yeah, I was too little to remember that. Because he was older. So when I had like a real memory of hanging out with him, he had retired. But you know what? It's funny because he and my grandmama had been together for 60 years when he passed.
Whoa. That's heavy. That's beautiful.
Right? And even after he retired, he would go to work with her. So they knew him as Mr. and Mrs. Gold. And my grandmother was working in schools, and she was on the janitorial staff. And he would go in with her. He would just get up and go in with her. He wasn't getting paid. He wasn't nothing. But that's where his wife was going to work.
That's old school.
So he would show up. He would help do the floors and take care of the trash.
That's
and all
old
that.
school.
Yeah,
now,
man.
The modern day of that is like, seeing your little cousins stay on, what is it? What is it? They stay on, what's the iChat or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
They stay on FaceTime with each other everywhere.
All the time.
It's like they FaceTiming all day.
Yes.
That's the new school version.
Yes. Old school, you would be walking into work with each other. Yeah.
They be sleep with FaceTime going. It's like, what are you doing?
I don't know, man.
Young love.
Yes, it is.
I won't understand. And then like 20 years from now, they're going to be like, see, this is why the relationships with our...
I don't know what they're going to be talking about 20
work.
years from now. I was telling somebody, we were at work the other day, and I was like, yeah, I don't really... Like, I'm on Instagram. I haven't really gotten on TikTok.
Yeah.
I still miss my Black Planet page.
Oh, Black Planet! Back in the day.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you can put a little graphics up. Yeah. Figure out how to code in a song.
Yeah. That's how you first learned HTML and coding was Black Planet and MySpace. Yeah.
You got that right. MySpace as well. But definitely even the FaceTime period. Like, it was hard for me to even go there because I'm a Droid guy. But I do got an iPhone because my all the people on my team be acting almost like it's foreign to have it.
I'm telling you, man, we have all Windows products in the office, and they be yelling at me all the time.
Yeah.
I had to break down and buy a Mac.
It's like it. But if you end up with one, it'd be so weird when somebody like FaceTime you because it's like,
what?
I just want to have a conversation with you. Now I got to I'm not trying to look at you. Like, are you showing me something? And see, this is currently, I know somebody's like, you see, you old. Yeah. Yes, I am. Yes. Why do you got to show me something? We just talking.
Yep. I don't understand it, man.
It'd be bad enough sometimes with, I don't mind them and everything, but people act like it's a whole, especially post-pandemic, like it's a whole culture to like having your video on when you're in a Zoom. And it's like, is this video Zoom worthy?
I think it depends. Like I do like when people have their video on in meetings if we're working. You know what I'm saying? If we just sitting there talking, then that's fine. But I can just call you on the phone.
It's like I will put it on when I'm speaking. Other than that.
But you know what the thing about meetings is, and I don't know if this happened with you, but after the pandemic, I will get scheduled into back-to-backs. I'll have a 9 to 10, a 10 to 11, an 11 to 12, a 12 to 1. Yeah. And because we don't go and sit down with people in person anymore, you forget to like plan for breaks or plan to like give yourself time to get some water, take some time for yourself. And so it like just the way that we address work, especially since the past 5 years is crazy different.
You got that right. Yeah, you got that right. But definitely sometimes the culture, depending upon when, it's like, come on now, if we already all know each other, it's like, you know what I look like. Editing a video, but here we go, here nor there. So that's grandma and them. And then you talked about music teacher. Were your grandparents, were they like, did they sing or anything?
Yeah, my whole family on that side sang. Okay. And this is also when we talk about being old, but every house had a piano. Right.
That is something very Detroit to the point that like people from outside of Detroiters had money. They had pianos.
Yeah, everybody had a piano.
Now everybody didn't have one to play. It was just sometimes just cool ass furniture.
We played ours.
See, there you go.
You couldn't get away with it. Yes, it was tuned. It was definitely tuned. And we played. My mama taught piano lessons. And so on Saturday mornings, she would teach classical music, and it would be like Beethoven and Bach and Chopin from like 8 a.m. until noon. Okay. And then we'd have lunch and grab some stuff, and then the praise team came over to the house. And so then the afternoon was gospel and jazz and blues. And so I got all this music in one day, and I just grew up thinking that was normal. I just grew up thinking, oh, it's a Saturday. It's music Saturdays. What you going, that everybody had that, and didn't realize how blessed I was until I got older.
You was like, it was like that scene from the 5 Heartbeats in Your House Always.
Yeah.
Like in the world, I love the 5 Heartbeats.
I auditioned for that movie when I was a kid.
Whoa!
I did not get
it.
But
still just being there.
Absolutely.
It's a documentary. It's on Amazon Prime where Robert Townsend talks about like the making of it. And it's just as fun to watch. But like inside that movie, it's a scene that really, it don't even necessarily need to be in the movie. But I like sometimes scenes like that. And it's the scene where Robert Townsend and his little sister are like they're searching for notes and like putting together a song and just singing it together. It has nothing to do with anything in the plot of the movie. It's an amazing scene.
Yes.
But that also says like she got the audition that you auditioned for. She was like, damn, this girl's so good. we don't even have a reason to put her in the movie.
Yeah.
We probably need to be picking up with like Eddie Kane doing something gangster, but instead he will sing with his little sister.
But it's character building, right? It told you about the world that they were in, who they were as people. Like stuff like that when you're thinking about putting together a piece of film or theater is important. You know?
Okay, and then this is what I would say. And I like stuff like this sometimes. They never introduce a sister again in the whole film. You know what I'm saying? Not even at the family reunion.
No, you're right. She wasn't back. That probably got left on the cutting room floor somewhere. There's a director's cut somewhere in Robert Townsend. Yeah,
I know it's like an alternative version where she ends up marrying Flash or something. It's like I really hate Flash. JT be like, I gotta kill him now.
You know what I'm gonna do
Flash
tonight? I'm
took
gonna go
my
home
sister.
and put on 5 heartbeats. That's what I do when I get home. Yeah.
I'm messing up 5 heartbeats for everybody. They'll be like,
they ain't seen it by now, man. Come on.
Like, it's stuff like that I notice. But I like stuff like that.
Yes.
So yeah, man, that's definitely deep, man. So and playing, so music just part of it. And in that, especially being in Detroit, and I'm guessing like era, did your aunt and your mother ever look at like, okay, singing is career? Because clearly it was many opportunities, Lord knows, rest in peace to my late godmother, Orthea Barnes, so much that she did with Millie Scott and, with Aretha. It's a lot of, and it's a lot of talent in Detroit, as one of the things always uplifted. It's like, you go to a karaoke here, it's like, damn, they can sing. This ain't, you know what I'm saying? This ain't just like drunken people doing it. It's like somebody gonna get up and do karaoke and you gonna be like, I'm not supposed to do it. You know what I'm saying? But did they ever pursue music career?
So they, as the family lore goes, they were gonna audition for Motown and they had gotten through like a first round.
Okay.
And my grandmother said, you gotta go to school. Like you have to go to college. They were both the first in our family on that side to get a degree.
Okay.
And so they went back and forth like, no, but it can be a career. And my grandmother and my grandfather were like, that's fine, but go to school first. So they both went to school for music ed. By the time they got out of school for music ed, Motown had moved to LA. And so it was a different thing. But they both, they still, they're both retired now, but taught voice lessons, private lessons, choirs, churches, and then grew up with us always recognizing that was a part of our life.
And then that's the other thing, because as much as like Motown's here and it's one hell of a jazz history here that I think always isn't uplifted, I would say you could argue that the gospel music history of Detroit is probably stronger than the Motown. Now, I know people would debate me, but like,
it's an argument. It's a legit argument.
You get, especially, and I like some of the old gospel with my grandma. She played, this is my grandma's room. It's them old school stories. Her father, Papa Rulak, my great grandfather, he prayed for someone to play the keys. So she learns the organ. Presbyterian church, if you really, old school church, that is in the South back then, organs more so than even piano.
Absolutely.
Definitely different than piano. And like it's something with those hymns and them organs. You
too,
hear it. Yeah. And it definitely plays out. But knew the keys as well. But strong, like, so you're going to hear like Papa whinings.
Right.
If you hanging out with some old folks before you even thinking of like a BB and CC. You know what I'm saying? It's like Papa whinings.
Yeah.
And, he was opening up for the mighty clouds of joy and like, all that. All of that stuff, like that legacy is here.
We got a huge music legacy.
Yeah, Sheer family. Aretha Franklin, which I would say in a lot of ways, even between Bounce and They Say, the world of music and the songs of faith. But like, it was sister has a t-shirt brand that picked up from her husband. Like it's like Black, Beautiful, Brilliant, and I'm like, so much of like young, gifted, and Black is on, like that is as gospel folks will say, that's a secular record that song is on. So like it's in the mix of that. So it's here. The legacy's here.
And it's gospel music, it's jazz music and blues. That has a huge history here.
Obviously techno.
All of it.
House music.
And on top of that, we have I think the 6th or 7th oldest symphony orchestra in the nation, in the country.
Definitely.
So like it spans the gamut. Anybody that says that Detroit is just one thing, like just Motown, ain't paying attention.
Baker's oldest jazz club.
Yes, oldest jazz club in the country.
Yeah, and I mean
in the world.
Yeah, you the people that have played there, and even the other old jazz story, like Coltrane, you just be walking up and down.
Yes.
So it's here.
Yep.
So within that, did they ever like perform outside of just choir, or more so they was just like, you know what, we just gonna do school choir?
I mean, it was school and it was church, right? So when I was really young, we was at People's Community Church, and then went to Word of Faith. And so like on the praise team and gigging there. But then when I was, I think 3, is when I started playing the piano.
Wow.
And that was really because it was just around, right? Like when you grow up around it, you just like picking at it. I don't know if I'm all that, but I'll take it. And then apparently my mother and I were not getting along when I was 3 years old.
Okay.
I was a little bit rude.
I got
you. And so she said, what else do you want to play? And so I said, I'll play the violin. So really, like the violin was really my first love as an instrument. Yeah. And so I started that at 4 and I played that all the way through. I mean, I still have my violin at home. Like every once in a while I'll pick it up. And it's cathartic. It's therapy. Wow. You know what I'm saying?
Well, definitely it's even a legacy of that as you talk about the symphony when I think violin. Shout out to Cecilia.
Yes.
I think a lot of people know her more so as now hosting, more so from this. But Urban Strings and so much of the work that she did teaching strings to so many students. So viola, violin, cello. I call it always the tall bass. You know what I'm saying? So she got down, and that's a legacy here too.
100%.
And
contemporaries like Tiffany DeShazer and Michelle May that like are great and recognized as like Kresge Award winners and amazing musicians.
It's here. It's definitely here. And I guess in that you said people. So shout out to Pastor Jordan and them. And then over to Word of Faith. So I'm guessing just because I'm thinking we're close in age, you're in the growth of Word of Faith. As it starts, because I remember Word of Faith on the east, like
before they moved out to the current campus.
Like. Okay, so if people, I want you to kind of talk about it from the outside in because, like, I'm outside in. I had a cousin, Tanya. She goes, so like I want to say like she sung a choir or something. So we went. It's like we went like let's say like 1995, and I'm like, okay, it's a good amount of people here and everything. Then we came back like 1996. I'm like, okay, this is
a lot of people.
A lot more people. And then it was like, oh, no, this is like a whole movement. You're there like as this is growing. So even before we get into anything about everything, like the politics or whatever, but what was it like watching something like that grow? Because, I mean, and also, let me say this, and this is no offense to any of the other institutions, because Lord knows what y'all doing is definitely good. But that, in my lifetime, as far as I remember, that is the first church I've seen building fund manifest said building. I gotta say,
I'm glad you said no offense to nobody else. You know what I mean? Sweating. So look, I was, it's always interesting when you're a child, because I was a kid. And to be able to look back on something now, I'm in my 40s, so I can look back and have some perspective, right? I didn't realize what that growth was at the time. All I knew was this is what we did. Like you go to church, and you go to church on Sundays, you go to church on Wednesdays, and sometimes on Saturdays, and sometimes on Tuesday. Like it's like and because my mother and my auntie were in the praise team, Carrick Butler, I didn't really know Pastor Keith that well, but his brother Carrick was the music minister. He was at our house a lot. And so that was my kind of entrance.
Connection to
it. And my connection was always through the art, was through the music into it. And as it started to grow, look, I'll say this without putting too much of anybody's business out there. Whenever any institution gets larger, it's hard for it to get that big that quickly and still maintain close connections across the board.
Mhm.
So I think some relationships got tough. I know for my family, we made a decision that it was time to move.
Yeah.
And as it was getting really big, we left and we went to Family Victory Fellowship, Pastor Larry Jordan. And that was where I spent probably the majority, I would say from like 13 through 13 on up.
And everything you're saying is I think it's any institution, but like, because I remember feeling it just from like the visit with it was like, yo, this is different.
Yeah.
Like, because, you go to churches and stuff, but like, it's like, whoa. And in a lot of ways, from my perspective, and Lord knows, I ain't, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
we're all human beings.
What do I always say? Jesus knows where my heart is. so it's not like I'm Bible thumping and in church every day, but in my mind, from the iteration of like what's happening throughout like the 90s, that ushers in the experience of what a mega church is.
Yes.
Even though I knew more so from going to Aisha Shule, like this perspective of what the Shrine of Black Madonna meant, which was, I think, like in a different lens of everything that it becomes. But in the modern day of how we even look at what a mega church is, even more before like a Greater Grace or whatever, it like sets the precedent of like, oh, that's what that is.
Yeah. And in a lot of great ways, right? Like I think one of the benefits of whenever any institution gets that big is that they have more reach, right? They got more dollars coming in. So feasibly they can do more good, right? I also think as human beings, we got to make a decision sometimes. Do we want to be a part of a large institution? Do we want something that feels a little bit more intimate, where, there's more of a one-on-one connection? And I think, we, at least in this city, in my experience, have that of a lot of big churches and churches that have grown and gotten huge. And I think I've also seen, just from my friends, I'm not in church as much as I should be, or not in church as much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I also think you see a lot of smaller churches too.
Yeah.
And that just want to stay there. Like, this is who we are. That we are a neighborhood community institution.
Yeah. I definitely think like all depending upon how it goes, but like even like different groups and what they do and how they interact, it's such a different wave. Like even one sleepy night, Detroit, when we were doing something at Noel night at that one church, I forget the name of it, but it's in it's
Midtown.
Down the street. Yeah, it's in Midtown. It's down the street from
the Cass corridor.
It's like I'm so it's like you don't even know what this place is, but I used to love it. So like to me, it's down the street from where Union Street is. So,
wow, I miss Union Street.
Like right now, it's like I want some Rasta wings now,
and those dragon eggs.
Oh,
dog. Yeah.
Oh, that was one that it's like,
who owned that? Who owned Union Street?
I don't
know.
Union
Street and Cass Cafe are the two spots that I'm like, bring those back.
They are on the list of I want it back.
Yes.
I want it back. But that spot definitely, I guess, Garden Theater would be what we were saying. Shout out to the block or around the corner from the block.
Absolutely.
But it's a church there. And even the way that, because even the waves of like non-denominational, cross-cultural, it's like, okay, this is a different feel of like what they're doing, how they look at doing it in community and building. And, it just feels different. And, some of those waves, I do think that it's like across the board. It's not as much as I feel maybe at one point in time. And I don't even necessarily think this is, even really in the like, as Keith Butler's not, in council or whatever. I think it's more so like in the wave of like more seeing a Joel Osteen, seeing a Creflo Dollar, what's happening with Word Network and stuff. Like it seemed as if many saw that success is to become a mega church. Right. And now I don't think that's the, where things are at. Cause like even something as simple as, I was in Houston not too long ago, and just the Hilton we stayed at isn't far from Joel Osteen's church. So like you got to
driven by there.
You have to make some parking decisions.
Yes.
I mean that's how Word of Faith kind of was. It's like like
absolutely.
Even kind of, I love sports. Like you got to make some parking decisions even when it comes to sports, because it's like you possibly could end up in 30 to 40 minutes waiting to get out of here
somewhere walking back.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's like, do I want to park close to the exit so I can leave fast, or do I want to park close to the door and I'm gonna have to wait
an hour and a half before I get out the parking lot?
Yes. Anybody that ever went to the Palace of Auburn Hills and it was specifically designed that way, you would have to make a good when we leaving the game decision.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
if not,
I remember distinctly the last time I was at the Palace.
Yeah.
The last time I was at the Palace was 2007, and it
Mm.
was in the finals. It was when LeBron was with the
Oh.
Cavs.
Oh, I know somebody
And that
else that was
overtime
at that
game,
game too.
I was sitting in the back, but I had tickets, and so I was happy. And you're just screaming, and you're standing up and you're screaming, and the game
Yep.
ended. Was not good for us if you don't remember.
And that Theo Price, shout out.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I just interviewed him like days ago.
Yeah,
He
what's
said
up,
the
man?
same thing.
Yep.
And he was like, man, I was so mad because yes,
So
it seemed
mad.
it was many more steps than a dribble. It seems King James was taking. so I can only imagine, and that was the other thing about the Palace because it was only one way out.
Yeah.
Period.
That was it.
So if you waited to the end of the game, it literally may take an hour.
Yep.
So now it took an hour and you just sitting there thinking like,
I remember I just sat there. That game ended. I did. That game ended and we lost. And I was sitting with my boy Walter. And like 3 rows in front of us was this like 7-year-old kid, right?
Yeah.
So our whole section stops.
Yeah.
And he looks up at his father. He's like, Daddy, when's the next game? And he was like, well, that's it, son. We lost. There's no more game. This kid just burst out crying.
Man.
There's like 20 grown men. It was like, yeah, I feel that.
I know.
Yep.
I know.
Yep.
It's like
And
I
we
said,
just sat there.
Good old playoff referees. Playoff referees. But yeah, and definitely Houston, that church, yes, you got to make some decisions.
Absolutely.
So like I think everything kind of, where you at because you know what I'm saying? Like and I know that may be something small, but all of those things kind of go into even, the world we in now.
Yep,
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Where people make decisions on where they want to go and how they want to go there.
Mhm.
So as you're seeing, you saw something grow that
Right.
you can look at, and now you go to something a little bit more community.
Yeah.
Where you always like, okay, in church I'm singing, I'm playing. Was it always you and in music at church?
Yeah, it was. It was until, I don't know how much you want to go down this road, but I started having some conflicts with the Black church.
I got you.
And like, what are our ethics? What are our morals?
Yeah.
And especially with me being in the arts in the late 90s, early 2000s, folks weren't really open to individuals of the LGBTQ plus identity.
Yeah.
And I'm in theater, so that's most of my friends.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You know what I mean? That's
definitely.
those are all the people that I'm hanging out with.
Yeah.
And so I started trying to understand what that conflict was. I started to have a different conversation, taking time away from some churches that I felt like were too homophobic, if I'm going to be blunt, right?
Yeah.
And finding my way through spirituality and connection to that and realizing, maybe it doesn't need to be inside the physical building.
I got you.
Right? Maybe that's something that I can keep and that I can hold inside of myself.
And I mean, I do think that exists. And it's also so interesting because I've had these discussions just about where homophobia stands in the Black community because even though it's spoken so many places, like, I mean, it's just known facts that like some of the largest figures within the church were gay, LGBTQIA plus.
Yes.
Like, so like, and it like, it's not even, I don't even know what you call like an open secret. It's like, oh yeah.
Yep.
You know, and it's just known. So like, so it's just one of those interesting things. I think that Lord knows, because I'm not in the community, I can't necessarily speak for what that experience is, but I definitely can say that like it's been so many iterations where I definitely think a lot of talk and Lord knows what can be seen as bullying or joking is present.
Absolutely.
But also in the same side, like I always say, it's like, I mean, Little Richard, I don't think would have been accepted in any other community at the time where Little Richard, you know what I'm saying? Because like some of like the original version of Tutti Frutti is
right.
I don't know
very
if it's
different.
playing.
People haven't
I
heard
was
the
gonna say I
original
don't know. I
that's a
don't know
different
if
song.
that's there you go.
That's a
you know
different
what
song.
I'm saying?
Yep.
But hit song. You know what I'm saying? Hit song as original.
And I also think it's interesting when we think about the places where marginalized folks are accepted and what roles they have. And I'm saying that because I think just because I'm an artist, I end up in a lot of spaces where folks have felt like they're different, like they didn't belong anywhere, but they find a home for themselves in the arts, in music and film and theater and in sculpture, because those are places that allow you to express yourself. And generally speaking, you're surrounded by a bunch of folks that also kind of felt like maybe they didn't fit in somewhere, maybe, and use the arts as a way way to be who they were and find who they were.
Okay. So with that, more direct, high school.
Yeah.
Did you go to DSA? What was your high school journey?
I didn't. So we ended up moving. I went to a magnet school out in, where was it? In Bloomfield.
Whoa. What was that like?
It was, so we moved out to Farmington when I was 13.
Okay.
And it was culture shock because now we're surrounded by a whole bunch of white people.
Yeah. And then also that era, I'm guessing you're 13, like what era? Early?
This is like 95.
Okay.
94,
So, and I mean, Lord knows, I mean, I say this too often on Detroit. It's different. Like America has some tough racial relationships.
Yes. Yep.
All eras,
Yep.
But definitely depending upon the era, certain things stand out more than others.
Oh, our house got spray painted. So it was new construction. And my father would try to teach me about business by taking me to things. Like if I could go and the meeting wasn't too crazy, I would go with him. It was very much you are to be seen and not heard. Sit in the back, listen, pay attention. And then on the drive home, he would give me like a pop. Did you pay attention? Like, what did you hear us talking about? Blah, blah, blah. And so that's how I got a different type of education, right? And so I remember he was taking us by the house and just doing like a pop-in inspection to see how things were going.
Yeah.
And he walked in and I heard him upset. I knew the tone of voice when he got upset.
Yeah.
And I went to walk in the room and the words, "Niggas get out," were spray painted in all over in like 3 or 4 different rooms in the house. And my pops was, I mean, listen, with our light-skinned brethren, when they get upset, the whole face gets red and hot. And so I was immediately watching him and figuring out how is he going to navigate this.
Yeah. He's
very clearly upset and angry, but also didn't have the social license, right, to go off and start cussing somebody out and jumping up and down. And, you know, and so that was also a lesson in like, how do you as a man, like balance and when is the appropriate time and how do you speak out and stand up for yourself in those moments. And so, yeah.
And also just you sharing and rest in peace to my grandfather, Don Scott. He was, my grandfather was, I to this day, like some of the stuff, Cleveland, a lot of people knew him, owned nightclubs. Yeah. So like sometimes we go down there, my sister would be like with my grandma, but I would be like with him.
Yep.
And the board knows, like I'd be, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm 11. Why am I in arbitration? You know what I'm saying? But some of those lessons I do remember 100%. To this day.
Yes.
So like, and just being it, and I'm not saying your father is him, but I know the arc of even like in teaching that. Like I'm gonna show you how we can navigate this stuff.
Absolutely.
If you use your mind and you got the right resources, even in this white man's world, we can navigate things. Yep. So like a moment like that where you're with your son, where you do things like that, where you don't even necessarily like, this is, I think of a lot of life, like anything that comes to me is like an equation, variables in the equation. You don't even have that variable in the equation. I think when you look at it from like, when I think of who my grandfather is about like, yo, we can do this. I'm just as good, if anyway, better than, I'm going to have him here so he sees it too.
Right.
But now if they see you in a situation like that, it's like.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. And I think, especially when, like, now that I'm an adult, I realize so much of life is being able to pivot and being able to deal with unexpected things.
Yeah.
Like, right? Like what did Mike Tyson say? Everybody got a plan. They get punched in the face.
In the face, yeah.
And so much of life is waking up in the morning and saying, this is my plan for the day. And you walk outside, well, wait a second. And so I just remember, because in my brain, I was like, why are we staying here? Why are we moving into this neighborhood if this is what we're moving into?
And I definitely want to ask, you know, when you say in business, I want to ask what your father did.
Yeah.
But in this same arc, and I don't cast aspersions on it, I definitely probably in the past have, but now I just recognize like it's different. We all like make different connections. Even the person I was interviewing before you were here, like that was like one of the main points, because what she was saying is like some students you can connect with this legal message, some you can't. And I was just sharing like, yo, from Northwestern, like one of my best friends soon after my principal. So it's the same story in 2 different podcasts, but so rapping was really what I connected with at that time in high school. So one of my best friends, even though I had a 4.5, all these AP classes, just due to like some of the relationship with how our principal handled things and the people I hung around, you know, their choice of crime was auto theft. Our principal, one of the first people with the PT Cruiser, like soon after he gets it, one of my good friends takes it as like you know what I'm saying? So it's like, even though I guess I'm like this good kid, it's like, it's damn near like we're so intertwined. Like if I easily possibly could have ended up there in that car, you know what I'm saying? Just based on where things go. So I don't really necessarily see things, but I do think different people connect to people with different messages. So I give all of that more so in preference of your father. Probably even being in Farmington further represents more of the whole you coming with me, because I'm going to show them that like, no, I'm here and I'm connected. And I definitely saw that more so from when I was the president of the Northwestern Alumni. And when I say this, I'm not saying this like a John Conyers or a Damon Keefe or like brothers in that class, and I know your dad ain't that old, but they still had a like, nah, but I'm gonna show these white boys that I'm better than them. Like they had like this chip on their shoulder
because that generation, you know, you had to, right? It was so my grandfather was a Tuskegee Airman.
So that speaks volumes. So that's the father of your father.
Yes.
So the Tuskegee Airman that is the Damon Keefe.
100%.
Hell yeah, I want to show these white boys I'm better than.
Yeah, I'm not going. And I remember, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but when I got out of high school, I was thinking about going to the service. Yeah. And my mother was like, absolutely not. My dad was like, well, we have a lot of military, so I'm not going to tell you no. You have to make your own decision. Only thing that I ask, call your grandfather first. Okay. I said, cool. So I called my grandfather thinking, and I said, hey, mom and dad said that I could join the service if you say yes. That's not what they said, but that's what I told them they said. And he was like, okay, well, why do you want to go? And I said, because you went. And he was like, that's not a good answer. Why do you want to go? And I said, well, because you went, Uncle Bobby went, Uncle Joe went. He goes, that's not a good answer. If you're going to go serve and risk your life, why do you want to go? And I couldn't say anything. I didn't know what it was. Response. And he said, I'll tell you this. We went because we thought if we went over there and served and did our best and proved ourselves, that there was no way they could disrespect us when we came home. But we were wrong because they did. So if you're going to go, you really need to have an understanding as to what that means for you as a black man in this military. This was 1999. Yo, that's deep. And I was like,
boy, you would have been boots on the ground.
I would have been
relatively
boots on the ground. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I had a bunch of friends that went. And, you know, like, I was lucky because I got some scholarship money and I got some funds. I went to Michigan, which was an expensive school, but I didn't like need to go into the service to pay for college. And I had some friends that did. And that's, you know, 9/11 happens and it's a whole different world.
Boots on the ground.
Yeah.
So and that's deep. So now I got to pick what was your dad doing in business?
So he was a dean. He worked in colleges and community colleges. And then I would say he was probably in his mid 40s when he was like, I don't like doing this. And went back to school and got his master's in philosophy. And then taught philosophy for the next 20, 25 years. Yeah.
Okay. So now in that moment, at that time, this is probably like, I can only imagine what that is. And then also, so you all can kind of understand that or watching how common stuff like that was happening. Like I say, based upon when you move to these places, different things happen. I mean, this happens to basketball player. I think I don't know how many people know this. When Doc Rivers moves in and becomes a San Antonio Spur, I mean, not only is, you know, nigga go on spray painting on the house, his house is burned down. Multiple times. So like it's waves of things like this, and that's happening to him.
Absolutely.
So you can only imagine
what's happening to not Doc Rivers. Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So like, and similar to a lot of things that sometimes happen to our people, you know, you know, a lot of these cases are cold cases.
Yep. There was never any recourse that I know of. There's never any recourse, no repercussions for that. You know what I'm saying? And it's one of those that was also in as much as that was a moment where I got to really say, okay, this is how like you stand up for yourself and you know, blah, blah, blah. It was also a moment that I recognized as going, oh, this is real. Like this is not something you read about in textbooks. Racism isn't something that like kind of exists in history. Like this is an everyday thing. And I distinctly remember being, because I was out of the country when Mike Brown died. I was in Canada for work. And I went to a bar and I'm sitting there having a drink and this Canadian was talking and he was like, that's crazy. And I was like, yeah, that's America. Like, That's Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin, Sandra Bland. Like, unfortunately, that's also part of who we are as a country.
Yeah, it's all interconnected.
Yeah.
And even more so because I felt that chip on the shoulder.
Yeah.
And I think that and I'm generalizing it because I think it happens in waves, because definitely there were a group of brothers that thought if we serve this country, really it's so many iterations of that old Chris Rock joke of we finally get there. So one iteration is, you know what? And I guess that's more like the Marcus Mosiah Garvey path.
Sure.
Let's just go to our own place, not even interact with these people.
Yep.
That creates the FBI
that
follows us. Then it's the Booker T. Washington. You know what? They just want us to focus on agriculture. That's what we do best. Let's just focus on that.
Right.
Not exactly.
Right.
Because let's defund everything that's happening in these agricultural institutions.
Absolutely.
Even after you show a lot of these people that were enslavers how to function and do what they couldn't do for themselves. And we're going to implement sharecropping and further oppress your people. Then it's like, okay, W.B. Du Bois, let's get an education. Let's show that we can not only excel, we can interact with the most elite.
Right.
That don't necessarily work either. Then it's like, okay, let's get in the military. Let's show that we're willing to die for this country. You come back and you got to get on the back of the bus from possibly, and this is the reality of the stuff, somebody that came from the axis of evil country.
I'll tell you a story.
Sitting in the front row.
I'll tell you a story. My grandfather was shot down. He was flying in the European theater, shot down, had to crawl back to Allied territory. He's in a car, right? And he is an officer. He's a commissioned officer and a pilot. He was sitting in the back, and the German POWs, the German prisoners of war, were a car ahead of him, getting better food, getting better treatment, and he was in the back behind them with a guard and a nurse.
As I told you, you get back to this country, and the axis of evil people is on the front of the bus, and you better get your black ass on the back of the bus.
Absolutely.
And then it's like, all right, so you know what? Let's go on and get the right to vote. Because clearly we see that the legal system in voting is the way. Not necessarily. You know what I'm saying? I definitely think, and I mean, I guess I don't even think it takes so much of an exhaustive essay, but to not think to yourself that the election of Barack Obama was not a direct connection to a MAGA movement, you got to be out your goddamn mind.
It absolutely was. It was absolutely, what we're dealing with right now is a whole bunch of people who feel like they're losing power. Because when all you're used to is power, equality can seem like oppression. And they ain't ready. They ain't ready for that.
And I have points on that. And then my generation more is like, yo, if we got enough money, everything cool. Hell no. I mean, that, and Lord knows he was definitely saying things that were crazy as hell. But I mean, the letter, and to me, this speaks even more volumes. The letter that Chase Bank explicitly said, we are going to be giving Kanye West back $700 million.
Yep.
That's damn.
Yeah.
It's whoa.
Yep.
And also, this is something my granddad said, and God bless him, my granddad was in shrimp. Because I used to, I collect them even to this day. I like magazines, but at the time, Black Enterprise and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm getting in, and I'm like, yo, this is cool. My granddad why are you reading that? And I'm like, I can learn more about business and stuff. He said something that has never been more true, these wisdoms. He was like, man, don't never be a nigga on the cover of that. The IRS gonna get your ass. And then I thought about it. I was like, damn. Mel Farr. LaVan Hawkins.
Yeah.
I was like, shit, there's something to this.
Yeah. Yep.
So even that, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, it's we just got to understand that clearly the functionality of this, and I don't even necessarily think it functions best for them. I always say we're playing basketball in their backyard.
Right.
And sometimes it's not even necessarily function for them. And even exactly like what you said, I think I understand even the argument for them feeling as though they are not given what they're given, because I think my contemporaries that are white men compare themselves to their grandfathers and great grandfathers.
Yes.
And more so the quality of life that they had of I mean, I've seen it. I've seen them joke and say stuff like, your grandmother never had to have a job and stuff like that. And I mean, and I see it get under their skin, but the reality of it is economic turn I bring up so much that's an externality, meaning like the American middle class is the growth of it is so connected to America's here fighting World War II and creating all these planes, tanks, guns, and all of that stuff. And all those nations are like really at war and stuff. So then at the end of it, America is the only nation that can produce things.
Right.
So a lot of that production and all that stuff being sold, even though Lord knows, I don't agree with, dropping nuclear bombs, but a lot of that, the social safety net, as they say, that Franklin Delano Roosevelt created post
World War II?
Post the Great Depression, that was needed, and then you couple that with World War II. Hence, that's why he a president for 4 straight terms. You know what I'm saying? So like some of this is good, but it's also like a competitive advantage that America has because it wasn't at war in its backyard. And now it gets to step up and colonize all these other nations that these other nations really was fighting over. You know what I'm saying? And get all the resources and build all this stuff. The dollar becomes the currency of international trade. So hell yeah, you could have a 7th grade education, drive a hollow, and make $120,000 a year, optical, dental, health, a college fund for your daughter, get drunk every day on the line and still have the type of benefits where you could just get to another job. Yes, that existed at one point in time, but that had to do a whole lot with where the rest of the world
and how we participated.
That reality ain't right now.
Right, and how we participated in that. It's something you said that is interesting. We weren't fighting on our land, right? This fight wasn't happening, not even on this continent, really, right? So we had that separation from it. And I saw Ta-Nehisi Coates talking recently, and he was talking about how we have had the privilege of forgetting. In this country. We've had the privilege of forgetting what we've done in the Middle East and the privilege of forgetting like the coups that we have supported.
Patrice Lumumba.
Yes.
You know, and they finally almost just now admitting, we assassinated him. Clearly, and this is like just crack cocaine in my lifetime. Because, it was, as I say, like the hint, hey, we still need to make sure that we fight against the Sandinistas.
Right.
So I don't know what makes money in that country, but we better figure out how to do it. Crack cocaine in my community. You know what I'm saying? And this is something that really, I think, hurts other communities. I don't think it's a shock that like the world's most refined opium comes from Afghanistan, and we have an opioid crisis that runs concurrent. During that time, and America's at war with Afghanistan or occupy. I don't even know what the hell was going on in Afghanistan, but I definitely know that a lot more opioids make their way into the American market, street market, and over the counter during that time.
Yeah, absolutely. The way that we have to be good citizens, right? And we have to be good residents, and we have to be conscious of the people that we interact with. And I think it's really easy to think about it on a micro level. If you live in a house with 5 people, you want to make sure that you're being kind and respectful to those 5 people, right? You live in the same block, in the same city, in the same community, in the same state. And what we don't often do is think about not just the way that we live and operate, but the stories that we tell and how we communicate that, right? And that's really important, whether it's through how, you and I are talking right now, the history that gets written down in books. History is written by those that win, right? So how are we making sure that history is also telling equitable and true stories? The art that we create, like it's all about how we exist together.
I agree. And we talked about like how white men are, but just even us as black men. It's people, because Detroit is one of those places where industry exists. It's definitely, they elders, but that feel like if you work hard, you can get a job. What you doing? It's like, it's weird because it's like it's a barometer of something real in that, but they also don't even understand what it's navigating as like, a lot of young brothers work with me. And 2 of them, they were going to college and they like, I don't think I'm gonna go back this semester. And it's tough to even, and I know I get in a lot of discussions where they're like, look, man, just get a trade and da-da-da. Like the base level of opportunity now, damn near, it's like, and when I say this, I'm speaking from like what I'm observing. It's damn near seeming like base level, you damn near need a master's degree.
Yeah, it's hard. And I think it especially depends on what industry you're in.
That's what I'm saying. But now, it's many, like stuff that you think that
I do think that we have to find balance, right? I think there are some industries, some people that college is not for them.
I agree.
The way that college in a 4-year institution is set up, it's not for them. So we do need to make sure if you want to go get a trade, that you can do that. And everybody, if you want to work, if you are willing to work and show up, then you should be able to make a living and take care of yourself. And as we see culture continue to grow with these like technological revolutions, especially with what AI is doing right now, we got to all be intelligent and trained and get that education so we can compete at that level.
I mean, and this is really more so the critique as a person that, I went to a trade school in recording, and then I went to a trade school in trucking, and I was a truck driver for 3 years, like up to like maybe about like 20, 24, 23. Mm-hmm. This is what I say. I definitely think that if you attack trade school and you have a plan, you can get a lot of opportunity as a plumber, electrician, even a truck driver. The thing is, a lot of the brothers I know that are there aren't the type of brothers that sit down and say, like, look, this is how I'm going to attack it. I already see that this is where we can connect. Because, like, I mean, clearly, I'm not even in trucking anymore, but clearly because I see that, I don't know if a lot of people know this, that Windsor is the busiest port for America, meaning more goods kind of go through there. So, like, now of what's happening, and Lord knows, I mean, this has a lot of other, you already see where I'm going. So it's going to be more opportunities to just connect there. Mm-hmm. That's not usually the connection you're making, because now as the brother that's going to this trade school understands the commodity that you have with whatever trade you have, and then knows how to monetize it most. Like, these are skill sets that I go as far as saying, like, most people I know with masters and doctorates don't necessarily know how to like recognize how to maximize what's happening from that.
You know, it's funny. We're working on a documentary right now. Actually, I was just looking at a cut this morning, and it's about workforce development. And so we got some money from the Kellogg Foundation. Okay. So we're doing it's a 4-part series, and we're looking at 3 individuals or 3 profiles, like 6 to 8 minutes long, about 3 individuals that have different levels of education and that intersect with workforce in different ways. Mm-hmm. So somebody who's a returning citizen, somebody who is unemployed, somebody who is underemployed, right? Like they have a job, but a job isn't a career. And how does that all intersect? And so what's been really interesting as we're working on this is, you know, you put a camera on somebody and for the first like 15 minutes, they might be a little nervous because there's lights and all these other people. But if you're good at what you do and you talk to them, then after 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, they relax, you end up in conversation, and you start to understand that at the end of the day, we're all trying to do the same thing. We're all trying to take care of ourselves, take care of our families, right? Like take care of those people that we love and that we care about. And we should be able to do that. But there are oftentimes so many systems that are in our way that keep us from being able to earn a living. And so like, as you and I are sitting here talking about this, if anybody wants to listen, it's called Building Battle Creek. That's because we're talking about workforce development in Battle Creek, Michigan. And that's
Kellogg,
project.
And we know
and so it's a city that is similar to Detroit on a smaller level, that grew up, had a lot of factories, had a lot of factory jobs. And as time has gone on, you've seen the decline in the jobs that are available. And how does that affect the Black community differently than it does other communities? How does that affect LGBTQIA plus folks in a small conservative town that doesn't necessarily want to admit that they exist? And so it's really, as we've been having this conversation these past few minutes, I'm like, that's thinking about trade schools, thinking about education, thinking about hard work. If you apply yourself, you're told that you can get there. And there are also still some barriers, right, that we as a culture got to recognize and tackle.
Oh, definitely. I mean, truck school was, first off, also young, but it still was one of those experiences that, I mean, maybe like 2 months, but I'm so young, and just what stands out about the different mix of people, and then like how I kept up with them. And I can definitely say the people that most effectively approached it, because they're usually going to move you towards owner-operator eventually, especially at that point in time. And basically owner-operator is you own and operate your own vehicle, but with it, it's kind of like any other lending. Like, you know what I'm saying? You paying it off. The people that were most effective actually was the guys that had, street was good and effective with mathematics in the streets. Already knew a lot of stuff about distribution, already knew about things in routes, knew how to save money. Like, you could be very effective, knew how to expunge what they had on their record and get all of stuff off. And I mean, when I say that, I mean, I ain't saying like it was like a list of like, 30 of them or whatever. I
Mhm.
mean, of our class of 50, I think it was 2 that was really good. And I was like, okay, yeah, they was dope. And actually, one of the weirdest things from that is like in my truck school group was like one of the first hitters from YBI. And he was like so weird, old
Wow.
school. But he was more like, look, I just want to work because
Yeah.
it was also like people like that. It's like, look, I just want a job.
Yep.
That's all I want to focus on. Let me just focus on this. Not far from the crash. It was like a bank. It was so weird. This guy that was a bank manager and he damn near lost everything. And one of his lead clients is like, look, man, I got a logistics company,
Right.
but the only way I really can hire, because they ain't gonna respect you if you ain't got your class A,
Right.
and you ain't been out here on the road. So like you got this like, this dude that damn near looked like, I don't know, everything you would think of like an old dude that's a white guy, bald-headed, running a bank, and he's in there wearing cardigans and stuff. It's just, it was like, whoa, this is weird. You know what I'm saying? But just all those different walks of life, but just connected even with that trade, like how you saw what it is. And my thought process is like, okay, I can travel across the nation. Some nights I can get there early, maybe hit a rap show and all of that stuff. Nah, that ain't what's happening.
Yeah.
When you trucking, your life is built around trucking.
Right.
So I definitely want to check some of that out. And now I guess that just definitely jumps into like, I'm guessing when you go to Michigan, you go for drama.
I went for musical theater, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went to University of Michigan for musical theater.
Mhm.
And I was there until 05 when I got out of school, and then I moved to New York.
Okay. Yourself, like, did you ever like lean into music and playing and all that? Were you ever thinking to yourself like, okay, let's make this run at I don't even know, like becoming Joe or I don't even know, like I guess who I think is a good
Joe would have
Tank.
been
I guess Tank. I guess is a vocalist I like.
Yeah, Tank is cool. We got to work on his technique. He be straining and stuff.
He does, but Tank, like if he's in the right pocket, but really maybe most of his songs, I think he's more talented. Like he actually may be one of the most talented people. I was gonna say Jamie Foxx, I know, does do a lot of his backing vocals.
Yeah, and Tank is a great songwriter. He's a great songwriter. Did you see? I'm gonna sound real old.
The Him versus Tyrese.
Yes,
I did watch it, and then when you said that, I did. Yes, because before that, I almost would have I'd have damn near put money on the line.
Oh yes, I thought Tank was gonna win that. Tyrese came out.
You're right.
Yeah.
But over time, even though it's not like, and I'm not throwing any shade to a person that likes it, but like. Some of the groaner stuff. I'm just not the biggest Tyrese fan. Like, I got a lot of R&B playlists. And this is no offense. I may have him on like, I may have, because it's like Sweet Lady.
Yeah,
lately. Much where I'm going. I can't. And
lately's the other one.
Yeah, because I'm not the biggest on Signs of Love Making.
Signs of Love Making is all right, but I mean, like I feel like you can name more Tyrese number ones or like at least chart toppers than you can Tank.
Yeah, you're right.
If you just like us, their vocals. But no, to answer your question, I was never. I mean, I always knew I could sing. I always knew I was good, and that's what I love to do. But for some reason, I didn't have that passion to be that kind of solo artist, like into adulthood.
And that was the other thing, because I guess in that era, and it's so weird because people are like, why you got all these Dru Hill songs? It's like, that's my era.
Dru Hill was, I could go through every single song on every single Dru Hill album. That they dropped a new Christmas joint last year. They look old. They look old as a mug. I was like, don't do that to yourselves.
Hey, it's like my era is like, because you know what I'm saying? Jodeci's older than me. I mean, that's like I listened to him, but Dru Hill was like, oh, no, this is.
Yeah, Dru Hill, Boyz II Men, that was right there. Jodeci and New Edition, I think we're about the same age. I was a little too young for them, like on the regular.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that. I love that music. I love Take Six. People sleep on Take Six, but like as a gospel group, they have vocals for days, man.
Yeah, I mean, they're amazing a cappella. So
they are,
yeah, definitely. But also group, because that also, even though I guess we're the group is like leaving at that point in time. You know what I'm saying? But like, I'm surprised nobody even tried to snatch you up and be like, yo, we need you in the group.
No, man. Okay. I was little younger. And my mother, because I was still very, very much in the church. And so like had this balance, this struggle of like, is secular music okay? Like what am I, can I do it? And then I got out and I got to New York. I got into college and got to New York. I was like, yeah, everything's great. And had that experience.
And it's so funny. Hip hop is so prevalent then. People just being like, can you sing this hook? Then you became Joe for real.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, Joe is in G Unit.
I would take this one.
It's like Joe is in G Unit.
Yeah.
This is weird. So, all right. So New York.
Yeah.
What era do you touch down in New York?
So I moved to New York summer, fall of 2005.
Whoa.
Yep, 2005.
Oh man, different type of New York. That is the G Unit era in New York.
And I remember because I was in callbacks. And I was in callbacks for 2 projects. And the one that I really wanted was the Dreamgirls movie. I was going in for CC in the Dreamgirls movie. And I was going in for that like 2, 3, 4 times.
What role were you
for CC, for Effie's younger brother.
Okay.
Yep. And I remember I would fly out. And I just got out of school. I was living in Ann Arbor, and I was trying to like get my coins together.
Yeah.
So I could afford to move out there and have a little bit in my pocket, right?
Yeah.
And my agent was like, "Hey, you got to come out for this audition." Cool.
Yeah.
So I go out. I was auditioning for that. I was in callbacks for The Lion King and Color Purple. Like those, like kind of the 3 things that I was auditioning for.
And this is the stage plays.
Yeah, stage play, Lion King, Color Purple, and then the Dreamgirls movie.
Oh, so the Dreamgirls movie.
The Dreamgirls movie was in production at that time. Yeah.
And let me ask you this, because I didn't even ask so much about the theater, even going through school, but auditions itself. And I mean, you've held it. And I know people say, it's like one of those things like when like athletes say like, I don't read the, it's like, I don't read the headlines.
Yeah.
I've never auditioned for something myself, but I've seen it enough because my sister, shout out to Dara Cohen, Dara always doing stuff, but I've seen it.
Yeah.
And even when I guess people are like trying to make it like cool experience, like mentally, I just imagine it has to be a lot.
Yeah.
Like period. Like even, you know what I'm saying? Like just, you know what I'm saying?
You're a professional auditioner that maybe sometimes gets to act or maybe sometimes gets to sing. Like you would do, and especially living in New York at that time, you're brand new, nobody knows you. And if you're good at all, right, then you're going to audition and you'll probably get a callback because like, I don't know who you are. Let me see more of you. So let's say you got 2 or 3 auditions scheduled. A lot of them would happen on Mondays. Yeah. That's when the theater community was dark from shows. So you're doing auditions on Mondays, maybe something on Tuesday, and then you hear back Wednesday, Thursday about a callback. So now you got other auditions. You got to learn new material, right? And new songs for that. Can you read music? Because you might show up to an audition and you prepared one song, like, oh, actually, can you sing this one? You can't say no, right? And so you're like, yeah, let me learn it real quick. And so it's crazy. I was in an audition one time. I thought I killed it. I was like, I'm booking this gig. The one person was like, John, that's the best audition we've seen all day. Without missing a beat, the person sitting right next to him was like, really? That was horrible. What? And I was like, oh God. And you're standing there listening to them talk about you. Yeah,
right there.
I don't know. Isn't he a little, can you lose some weight? I mean, I guess I can, yeah. Like, it's like all that stuff that they're saying to you about you. And you really have to have a thick skin about who you are and not put yourself in the position where you're trying to chase somebody else's approval.
I can say like this new project we're working on where we're interviewing Detroiters in different cities. Yeah. And the studio we used was in Times Square. Okay. And it's like around the corner, like Broadway's like right in the mix of that. Yep. So in it, it's like this, the way the building is set up. Shout out to Chris. It's like you gotta take an elevator up to one floor and then you gotta go, then you like walk and then you go to this other floor. It's where a lot of those Broadway auditions take place. Yeah. So like Saturday when we were using the studio, it was, I swear, and I was like, what in the hell is going on here? And then it's like, oh, one of the people I interviewed was like, yeah, man, they do a lot of the auditions right here for Broadway, but it was like for children. Yeah. So I saw like it had to be like a room of, my gut, maybe like 75 kids. Yeah. So their parents too. Yep. And and it just made me think to myself, like, damn, you sit in a room with everybody going for the same thing, but you gotta cordially just act like, what up though? What up though? Some of these people you may see all the damn time because they going for the same thing.
And what will happen is they'll bring you in the same type, right? So you would go through a typing audition. So it would be me and 9 other guys that were all between like 5'6" and 6 foot. We all kind of look the same. Yep. We all had kind of the same energy. We were all singing because they would give you the same material. So you're sitting out there and you're hearing these 4 or 5 guys sing the same song, right? And you got to go in after that. It's just, it's a cattle call in a lot of ways.
Yeah. It like mentally, and then I remember, the Faison Love story. I'm like, man, I just said I'm gonna just go in as the character of Big Worm. I'm gonna put perm in my head. So I think sometimes people do that
works. Yeah.
Sometimes people don't. It's like just all over the place of like what to do, but at the same time, like you say, it's the cattle. It's like you're going to be sitting in front of these people, and basically, I think one of the worst things I could only imagine would be like, and I'm sure this happens all the time, it's like you probably got like a full sheet to read. You read like 2 sentences and they be like,
thank you very much. Yep.
You be like, damn, you ain't even gonna let me finish the line.
But can I tell you, now that I'm directing and I'm producing on the other side, it makes complete sense. Because I know when you walk in the room with like 99% accuracy, from the way you walk in the room and say, hi, my name is, I'm like, I'm not gonna, no, that's gonna be a no. And I let the audition go because I want to see if I'm right. I want to make sure that I'm accurate. I don't want to just cut you off before you've said anything. But most of the time, and I would rather have somebody say, you know what, John, we're not gonna use you, and let me go on with my day and focus on the stuff that I'm right for, than what has happened where you do 5, 6, 7, 8 callbacks. You prepare all this material, you spend 2 or 3 months out of your life, and you don't get it.
And what's crazy is I'm sure, because I've heard that story so many times. When I interviewed Lou Beatty Jr., and he was like, man, me and Danny Glover was like going up for the same role for like forever. And I was like, I'm like, I think it's amazing. Like when he said, he's like, I was in LA for 3 weeks and I was one of Sandra's boyfriends. I'm like, damn, I would be, I would lead with that.
I remember going in for an audition. I'm not going to say who the actor is, but I was going in for an audition and I found out later that they just needed me for leverage. They were in a contract negotiation with somebody else. They wanted him to take the part. He was trying to do X, Y, and Z. And they wanted somebody else that they could say, oh, well, if you say no, we got somebody that we're good with. And that was my role in that. I didn't get paid for it, but I didn't realize that's what that was until later.
So from that experience, it's interesting you're on both sides now, but like, how did you grow that thick skin to be like, I'm a professional auditioner?
A little bit. So it was a lot of family, right? And like growing up, I don't have kids yet, but growing up with my parents just constantly being like, A, you can believe in yourself, and B, every mistake is an opportunity. It's not about failure, right? It's an opportunity for you to grow and learn more and get better. So never thinking that if I messed something up, that was the end of it, that the world was over, right? So that was one, I just had a mentality walking into the space. And then 2, you learn it in the room. Like I remember when Shrek, the musical, was going to Broadway. And they called every black man in to play the donkey. Every black man in New York was getting called in, and they were basically asking you to do an Eddie Murphy impression. And I remember getting that audition side and telling my agent, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And they're like, no, but you should go in for it. And I was like, you're not hearing me. Like, I know that you want me to get this because you get paid if I get paid. And I'm also telling you that's not what I do. Like, that's not me. I'm not drawn to this work. It's not sounding good. I don't like it. And you have to be able to stand strong on who you are to be able to say that.
And I also think that connects kind of to the roller coaster of emotions of a lot of actors and actresses because of this. And, that could lead to substances or God knows 100%. What, because you go from like this high to this low.
Yeah.
And trying to keep that balance.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's been people that you've, probably like people you closest with that struggle with that.
A really good friend of mine did a project, and the project was fantastic, and it came out, and he was getting all this love. And because of the way film works, he had done that project 1.5 years earlier. And he had been out of work since he wrapped on that project. So that project debuts, he's getting all this attention, he's getting all this love. People are inviting him to all these things and be like, oh my God, your life must be amazing. And he's like, yo, they don't know that I'm like on food stamps. Like I haven't worked in 1 year. Like, what am I supposed to do? And there's this dichotomy that exists. It's like that a lot in film, not as much in theater, but I will say in theater, part of the problem is that the gigs are a lot shorter.
Yeah.
So you'll do I was doing a musical called Aida in Philly. This is years ago. And I booked that gig. We go out, you rehearse for 3 weeks. The show goes up for 6, right? After that show opens, you're back and forth to New York auditioning because you only have 5 more weeks of work and you don't know what's happening next. So you got to go out and audition and line up those next gigs. And so there is this massive roller coaster. And I've seen friends of mine leave the industry because emotionally it's a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
I've seen them take a break, take time off. And then as we get older, you have to make different decisions if you want to have a family.
And I also think part of it could even be that because when you rolling and you up, you know, that classic Bobby Womack song, nobody loves you when you're down and out. But when you up, like everybody around you, you know, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, and your other friends, the people that you think is cool because, you on the hottest TV show.
Absolutely.
You're not there no more in this, you know, that I remember the when Tupac jokingly was in that interview, like, yeah, man, when I was on Poetic Justice, me and Janet Jackson was hanging out every day and everything. He was like, the day at the end of the movie, I called her and it was like,
Listen, I would take hanging out with Janet Jackson every day. I'm good.
Hey, I mean, I'm with it, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, but I hear you.
You know what I mean? Like, everybody around you that you think is like, these my people.
And especially if you, like, I remember the first time I booked a gig that paid me anything. And when I said it paid me anything, I mean, I was making like $450 a week. But I was like, yo, that's more than I was making yesterday.
There you go.
So I got it.
We good.
And I wanted to spend money like you would have thought I was a millionaire. I was walking into the car just, you know.
I know.
That $450 was gone in 5 minutes.
Exactly. You'd be like, yo, you know, and especially in New York, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I remember, it's so funny. Shout out to my boy, God. It's like we there with the tour when we were with the rappers and everything. And we just was like, man, let's go on and stop in this bar over here before we went over to the Pyramid. And he was like, yeah, give me a bucket of Corona.
Yeah.
And then she was like, and she said 105. And he was like, huh? Because it's like so loud.
Yeah.
And then she was like, and he was like, dang. You gotta be careful in New York. Now, spots that's like, you know, what we put it like this. You have to be more mindful of where you are in your surroundings to find the places that be maybe more reasonably priced.
Yeah. If you want to be frugal.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. It's like, oh man, everybody going to this bodega. And it's like, these people don't look like staff, and I don't think they're actually patronizing customers. Be mindful there as well.
Yeah.
So you're navigating that. I'm guessing, when did it hit? And were you always like, okay, writing, directing, I'm doing the whole 9 yards? Was it always that focus?
Looking back, I realized that's what I was always doing.
Gotcha.
In the moment, I didn't know that because of my family history and the way I was raised. I was always thinking that, okay, I love what I do, and that's great. I love, you know, being in the arts and being entertaining.
Yeah.
But how is that making a positive impact? And so
That's deep.
I was always trying to figure out how to bring those two things together. And sometimes it's just as much as, you know, somebody might need an escape. Somebody had a really rough day. And they need to come see your show, and that makes them laugh or cry or forget about what their life is. That's great. I wanted something more active, right?
Gotcha.
And so I'd always been writing and producing. The first show I produced, I was still in college. It was a benefit concert for a domestic abuse shelter. And then when I started booking work, I went out on tour, and we would go to different cities. And after a while, I was like, okay, well, we're in this city for 4 or 5 weeks. What am I going to do? So we would do benefit concerts for the Red Cross or NAACP or teach classes and stuff like that. And so I was trying to get myself into that. And by virtue of that, that's when I ended up producing more. Because I was like, well, who's out here going to help me do this? I'm going to have to do it myself.
You.
Yeah.
Yep. Because everybody's like, I sing, but
I'm not directing, exactly. I'm not producing, I'm not. And so that put me in a different space, because then I'm out on the road and I'm surrounded by a bunch of really talented actors and artists and musicians. And then I needed the other side of my brain. I needed my pops, right? To be able to figure out, okay, how do I put all this stuff together? How do I manage these people? And thankfully, going to Michigan, like, you got a pretty good understanding of that, but I wasn't like a music business major, right?
Yeah.
I was performance major. And so being out on the road, touring, doing regional theater, that's when I really started trying to put all the pieces together, started producing more, started directing more. If we needed a song and the song didn't exist, I would write the song. If we needed, you know what I'm saying? Like that's how I really started getting into that space.
Okay. And then what brings you back to the D?
So in 2015, I tore my ACL. I was in the Lion King national tour. We were in Edmonton, and I was making an entrance, and my knee just blew out.
Was it like just freak accident type thing?
I mean, I was on stage. I was dancing on stage in the show.
Gotcha.
And it went, and I was like, oh, it should be okay. I was 33, and getting injured in your 30s is very different from getting injured in your 20s.
Right.
And so it was a year. It was I tore my ACL. Tore my meniscus, I shattered the cartilage off my femur, had to have 2 knee surgeries and a year of PT. And I went back into the show just because I'm stubborn and I was like, this is not going to be the way that I go out, right? So I had the option of going to New York, Atlanta, or coming home from my rehab. And I know some people in Atlanta, but not a lot.
Yeah.
I was not going to do New York on crutches, so I said, let me come home. I did the surgery in Ann Arbor, and I stayed with my folks. And that was the first time I had been home in probably about 15 years for anything longer than like 2 or 3 days.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying?
And being home is different than like breezing through.
Right. And because my folks were in Farmington, when I was coming in for 2 or 3 days, I was basically going from DTW to Farmington. I would see them for a minute, and then I'll be back out to the airport.
Yeah.
So now I'm home for any like length of time.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting to like go and connect with old friends. I'm getting to like drive around. And I was driving around downtown and realizing I don't recognize
none of
half of the city. Like, what is happening? Who are you? Where'd you come from? Where's, you know, like buildings that I was used to weren't there anymore. I remember driving down to Kaz Cafe and I saw this little white girl walking with some like yoga pants and a dog. And I was like, what is this neighborhood now? And I recognized that redevelopment is great. You love redevelopment. Gentrification is something different. And as I was getting older and, you know, my grandmother was sick at the time and I was watching my parents like be her primary caregivers and trying to figure out how I could be more supportive and realized like I did my 20s. I had a lot of fun, but how do I stay connected to my family? And then the artist in me was saying, well, what's the arts community doing now? Like, how are artists surviving through this and growing through this, right? Yeah. And there were some theaters that were surviving, like Detroit Repertory Theater. They're in their 69th season now.
Yes.
And they were still pushing, right?
Yeah.
Detroit Public Theater was brand new at the time. They were maybe like 1 or 2 years old. Plowshares Theater, Gary Anderson, like they've been around for a minute. But I don't know if people realize this. At one point, Detroit had more Black theaters in the country than anywhere else.
I had no idea.
Anywhere else.
But that makes sense, though.
You know what I'm saying? Like Woody King, Dave Rambeau, Ron Milner, Concept East Theater. Like they were growing theater in Detroit and then exporting that theater. Woody King left Detroit, moved to New York, started the New Federal Theater, which has won Tony Awards. That's where Denzel got his start in theater, where Sam Jackson got his start in theater. And all that stuff came from here. And when I moved home and realized that infrastructure was gone, and I was thinking about what I was going to do in the next phase of my career, I said, I've been to New York, I've done that, I've toured, I've done that. I think it's time for me to come home.
Okay, I do want to ask this just in the arc of it too, because I guess also the lens of artistry and everything. So being on Broadway, the healthcare benefits like covered all of the healing. Did that deal with more so like the union you were part of, or was it more so just the production you were on? What was that?
Yeah, so for artists in theater, your health coverage is attached to your union.
Okay.
And so you're a member of the Actors Equity Association, and that covers stage actors and stage managers. And because our jobs are so transient, I'm a like short version, you get coverage in Q2, depending on how much you work in Q1. So if you work 75% of Q1, you get coverage Q2. If you work 100% of Q1, you get coverage in Q2, and that 25% rolls over to cover you and counts towards Q3.
I got you.
Right? And so when you work consistently for a long time, you have coverage built up. Because I got injured in a show, then that was workers' comp, and that paid for like 98% of everything. What it didn't cover is the lasting injury. Because I had that surgery and then I went back into the show. Now I leave the road, I'm 35, and my body isn't, doing what I wanted to do like it did 10 years earlier. And so those are the things that I miss. I had 2 rounds of steroid injections into my vocal cords because I was singing 8 shows a week.
Yeah.
So now my voice doesn't do what it used to anymore, right?
Yeah.
And so there are trade-offs. There are balances that you got to think about, which when you're 23, you think you're invincible and you're not worried about it, that you have to balance. And one of the things that doesn't exist in this market is there's not enough union work for artists. And so as a result, you don't have the opportunity to get all those weeks in one quarter to earn your health benefits for the next. And so you end up having to take day jobs and other jobs so that you have the benefits and you can support yourself, when if you lived in another market, you wouldn't have to do that.
I was definitely wondering that. And also what you speak about immediately tied me to, like, obviously, I'm like to media, but a couple years ago, Showtime had an excellent documentary, I think, on Teddy Pendergrass. And more so like, so much of what was needed for him to get his voice back,
right,
kind of connected to, where he was at, after that accident,
absolutely,
being in a wheelchair and like getting that. And actually, after that, I mean, I think Joy is probably one of my favorite Teddy Pendergrass songs. And that is after the accident, so like, he's able to deliver, but it definitely took the right doctors to know where things stand, because our vocal cords and our lung capacity has so much to do with everything in our body.
I was doing, I'm showing my age again. I was doing a rewatch of New York Undercover. And you know how they, at the end of every episode, they would bring out a different musical guest?
Yeah.
And they brought out Teddy P in his wheelchair. It was after the accident.
I didn't even know he was on that.
And,
but I do remember.
I had almost forgotten, right? And it's one thing to stop and sit there, but as a singer, so much of how you produce sound is like diaphragm and standing and and it was just really powerful to watch him, and like knowing emotionally what it must have been like when your body is beaten up. I'll tell you, I've had injuries in my knee. I've torn both my left and right calf. I've popped my shoulder out. I've had cortisone shots in my hips and in my knees. The most difficult injury for me to heal through was my voice.
Whoa.
Yep. Because it's emotional. It's attached to like who you are as a person. It's how you communicate. It's how you speak. Not being able to sing was the most depressing situation I'd almost been through, outside of, the close personal family loss, but that was hard.
I mean, so much of like your family and your life, like I mean, even from this interview, it's like singing is like,
it was
what I'm saying? That is
everything.
You.
Yes. It was everything. And like I can, but not like I used to.
I got you.
And even that is like a difficult thing to reckon with. But that also, I think, fed me, and it fueled me differently as a director and as a producer.
Okay.
Because I was like, cool, all right, like I can't actually do what I used to do in the way that I want to do it. I still got a bunch of energy. I'm still relatively young. Like, where's this going to go? I'm not just going to sit here and lay down,
Yeah. Okay. So you get here 2015. This is certainly a lot of waves, just and I guess, soon after we're looking at a lot there that just transcended in Detroit, but you're committing yourself to art. And this is one of the things I can't say, even before interview, like I said, like from watching your team with One Sleepy Night Detroit, very, very like effective. And when I say this isn't like saying, I've changed my perspective of like a lot of what, quote unquote, this should be like this or that should be like this. But you really have like, damn, this is like really professional. And I've seen a lot of productions here over time. I've seen some great productions too. My cousin, shout out to Lumumba, but Lumumba does all types of cool stuff, but still.
Lumumba Reynolds?
Yeah.
Yo, I love Lumumba. That's your cousin?
Yeah.
And Mama Maiwa. Yes.
So like great productions, but still it's more difficult here because like what you say, a lot of it, and I think the root, like what I was saying is, I think a lot of people just don't have the confidence to go all the way there because they don't see the path all laid out. So I'll take this to another film reference, but like, I think it's, what is that? Indiana Jones, Last Crusade. It's like a thing where it's like, you have to trust, where he's like walking across the bridge that you can't
he doesn't see it. Yeah.
That's really a whole lot of what this is here, because like, it's not as direct. Like if you're even though New York is filled with millions of people, you still can see a path of like, oh, like you say, Denzel used to be here and da-da-da-da.
You know what the difference is? It's in the density of opportunities.
Yeah.
So in New York, there's 1,000 versions of me, right? There's
Yes.
1,000 black men that are 5'8", 5'9", that
you
can
walk
sing.
into you walk into the audition,
absolutely.
and actually, there may be another 100 coming every
that
day.
are just waiting, right? But you know what? There's also 1,000 jobs.
Yes.
So like, if I don't get this one, I'll get the next one. If my boy doesn't get this one, I'll, you know what I'm saying? He'll get the next one. Here, there are fewer jobs. And so I was saying this to somebody, because the nonprofit that I run, we have to apply for grants, right?
Yeah.
And so I was talking to a funder, and I said, if you think that let's suppose that an actor gets 5% better for every time they do an audition, because you do an audition, you get feedback, you get to process it, you get to feel it out, whatever. When I'm living in New York, I'm doing 4 or 5 auditions a week when things are really busy. I'll get to the end of the year. Let's say I've done 20 auditions. Okay. If you live in Detroit and you live in this market, you'll do 4 or 5 auditions a year. Because that one theater company will have their general audition. And that's that one. And then maybe another theater company will have that general audition. And if you're union, then you have fewer opportunities, which means you have fewer opportunities to get better. Right? And it hurts the pool of talent when we don't have more opportunities for folks to work.
That's deep. But you just explained it, because I definitely think in it limits like how hard people go to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I definitely think, even from my music days, like, you know, it's almost like it's the psychological self-sabotage. People love to say like, yeah, man, you know, when I don't even know, you know, it'll be like whatever they say, like, you know, Kendrick Lamar first came here and or no, this the real life story. Real life story from me and my friend Khan that I was talking about. Very early, when T.I. was dropping like his first album, I'm Serious. It was a show at Wayne State where he's opening it up for us.
Yeah, wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we could have, you know, and we jokingly talk about it, but it's some people that like hold on to that, but it had nothing to do with the trajectory of where he was going.
Right.
But even back then, I could kind of notice, it's like, oh, he got like a whole machine to how he's moving, where he's moving with it, how he's going. This is different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But some people can kind of stay stuck in this space because it's like, I don't want to fail.
Right.
Whereas now in business with Detroit is different. Like, you know, like I always say, the L is a lesson.
Yeah.
And Lord knows, I've taken a lot of L cool J's.
And I've learned a lot of lessons.
And in business, as I always say, like, I mean, and I got a master's from a business school. Don't nothing teach you better business than losing money.
Man.
Losing money is like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like all of this theoretical, you know, you did this and you had your budget and hey, that don't fit. That don't hit you like when you see overdraft. And you be like, damn. It's like, all right, now what, how, what, when,
listen,
where,
man,
why?
I was just on set for the show that we're producing coming up. And one of my department heads was like, hey, I need to add a person. I was like, you need to add a whole person? And he was like, yeah. I said, you need to add a whole person? And he was like, yeah, we talked about it. And I was like, we talked about it in theory. I didn't say yes to the thing. And now I guess yes to the thing. And that's real dollars, right? And that's not that person's, it's not inherently that person's job to think about. It's my job to think about that and to balance out, is this going to be value add and is it worth it? And as a producer now, I reflect back on my life, you know, as an actor differently and really thinking about like what makes the show better and you know, how do we balance that and how we bring that show to the people.
And I mean, even like classic stuff, like it's so weird, like, you know, and you know, certain stuff you pick up over time. We got a larger production coming up next week and we're going to get lunch. So you thinking like, wow, it's fly that they got craft services. It's like, hell yeah, I do, because I don't need you going over across the street to Coney Island and you thinking you ain't hungry. And then it's like, you know what? I kind of am hungry, but I'm going to just go over it. No, I'm going to give all the food for all of y'all to stay here, because the minute one of y'all leave,
everybody's gone. And good luck getting them back.
All day.
Yeah, 5-minute breaks
all
don't
day.
exist.
So it's like, what do you want? Get them cheese on the sandwich.
Yeah.
All of it. Because the last thing I need to be doing is dealing with this as a problem.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? If we gonna start later it's going to be not because of something stupid like that.
Yep.
You learn stuff like this over time.
real.
You know what I'm saying?
You make mistakes. Mistakes are opportunities.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like a lot of this stuff that even you think is fly is because, like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, yep, get them a trailer.
Right.
Because the reason we got to get an actor a trailer, because, yeah, they definitely want to chill.
Yep.
And if they go back to the hotel,
good luck getting them back. They done.
you know, like you're going to have Denzel walk through the W and not stop for 50 selfies and somebody that's thinking, oh, I'll run by him. Nope. Put them in a trailer where the only person that can interact with them is this, this production assistant that I specifically said here and there. And let's get his, you know, what is it like? What Eddie Murphy have? Like, let's get the stand-in on deck every time that he ain't here.
Yeah.
Now, it's fly when you got it, like it's an actor, but it's a functional production reason for it.
Absolutely. There's a reason for everything on a production, right? And most of those reasons are money. Most of those reasons are like, is it going to save me money or cost me money?
Exactly. You know, so like in this way, though, right now you're like expanding the reach of a lot of things that you're doing, working with other people, whether production, what's happening now, let the people know.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. So my company, and you gave him a little bit of shout out earlier, we're talking about the show that we collaborated on, One Sleepy Night. So I have a production company called Ghostlight Creative, and we do a lot of B2B work. We support other organizations in their event productions. So we've done like the Stellantis Black History Month Gala. We just did the Covenant House. If you don't know about the Covenant House, it's an amazing nonprofit. They support houseless youth. So we do their annual fundraising gala. And that's what we do. And then I have a nonprofit called the Ghostlight Arts Initiative. And that's where all the programming comes from. So we do workshops, classes, and these are classes, yes, for youth, for high school youth, but also for any artist of any age, like wherever you intersect, right? And so we've got a bunch of stuff coming up. Actually, this weekend, we've got our annual gala. The Ghostlight Gala is called Art is Revolution.
Okay.
And so that's happening on Thursday, the 25th at the Garden Theater. And you're going to have some amazing performances. And we give out 2 awards every year. So this year we're honoring Madeline Porter and Alvin Waddles, 2 amazing artists in the community. And then we have our conference, which is the Detroit Impact Arts Conference. And the goal of that is to give us an opportunity to network as artists, to communicate, and also to have a better understanding of all the things you and I have been talking about, right? Like, how do you build an arts ecosystem? How do you provide more resources? So on Friday at Wayne State, Friday the 27th at Wayne State, we are doing 26th at Wayne State. Thank you. Friday the 26th at Wayne State. No, I'm gonna get it right. At the Gretchen Leade, we have an amazing panel conversation. It's a symposium. Representative Joe Tate from the Michigan House is gonna be there. Denzel McCampbell from Detroit City Council is gonna be there. Denzel's a good brother. Shireen Azab from A Host of People, and Leah Counts from the Community Foundation.
Cool.
And so we're gonna sit down and talk about what does it actually mean to build an arts ecosystem? What does it mean to build infrastructure? What are the things that are necessary? How do you, as a leader in an arts org, partner with the city? How do you partner with the state? How are you impacted by lack of public transportation, right? And how do you grow through that? And then we launch the Obsidian Theatre Festival for our 6th season. And that's a project that we've been having for the last 6 years, which is a Black theater festival. It's one of the only like it in the country. And I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm legit. This is one of the only examples of this in the U.S. Where it is shows written by Black writers, directed by Black directors, designed by Black designers, produced by Black producers here in the city of Detroit. And we film it and stream all of our content online. So folks can go to ghostlight.art, ghostlight.art. And there's all that information up there for the Obsidian Theatre Festival. It is obsidianfest.org.
When is the festival?
That is also this weekend. So everything is happening.
Everything's now.
June 25th through the 28th.
I got you.
At Wayne State University.
So this is going to be retrospect, but y'all can go back. If it's streamed, you can get back and get access to the content.
And so go online, check out the access to the content, look at it, and then we stream everything. We're also doing a series of community and neighborhood performances. So we did one recently over at the Wildermere off Live 6 neighborhood. We're going to do another one over there with them. We're going to do another one in Jeff Chalmers. Our goal is to continue to get work out to the community on a regular basis. We produce stuff in like that concentrated window at the end of June. But we're growing and we're expanding, and we want to make sure people understand there's access to education, there's access to training, there's access to resources. We can always use the community to come out and support.
Well, I definitely, even from this interview, love finding out so much more about you, man.
Appreciate
This has
you,
been
man.
a deep, rich conversation, but also we gonna collaborate on something.
Yeah.
I already got some ideas, and we'll
No
talk
doubt.
offline, because when I present it to the people, y'all will find out about it. But now I gotta hit you with them classic Detroit is different questions now.
Okay.
Very first car, year, make, and model, year you got it.
Yeah, it was a 1999 Ford Taurus station wagon
Okay.
that I got in 2000.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. The station wagon.
The station wagon.
Ah, the family
Yeah.
vehicle.
Well, I didn't.
You
Yeah, it
was
was
like,
a family vehicle, all right. It was.
You was like Chevy Chase. I'm just- But let me tell you something. You on some wheels, it's amazing.
Yeah, man, listen.
Where's the first place you went when you got it?
Star Southfield.
Okay. Oh man.
Yep.
Oh, now I want to go. Star Southfield.
Yep, Star
There was
Southfield.
A lot of good films I seen there. I think the best movie experience I had there, and it threw me off too. So we probably same era.
Mhm.
I did not expect Blade 1 to be as good as it is, and I'm a Wesley Snipes
To
fan.
this day, that is one of my favorite movies.
Whoa!
That is one of my favorite. I'll put that on any time of the week. That movie is amazing.
And I think, and it felt like me in the theater didn't expect it to be that good.
No, nobody did.
You
Nobody
know,
did. Yeah.
and I think it's been told, but I'll reiterate it again. It solidified Marvel as a franchise to make movies.
It saved Marvel from bankruptcy. Like legit. Stan Lee was doing an interview. He was like, Wesley Snipes saved us. Yeah.
Yep. Now, I've watched the other ones, but it just ain't even the same.
Yeah,
you
it was
know
like
what I'm saying?
the first one is still the best one.
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
but shout out Wesley. I mean, I even watched Drop Zone. That's how much of a
wow.
Wesley.
Yeah. Yep.
Watching Art of War too. Like, this is,
Art of War is
I
crazy.
like.
That was
I like
a Passenger
him too
57.
much.
Was that the one where he's in the plane?
Yes.
Yep. Yep. I'm telling you, man, it was like last summer I had, I don't know what I had, but I was sick. I was down for the count. I just put on every Wesley Snipes movie on Prime. And I just watched that. And I was laid on the couch with my pen and a six-pack.
I am, yes, as a person that likes action movies,
Yes.
as far as I'm concerned, it's like this black dude, you know what I'm saying?
Wesley Snipes' greatest hits.
Oh, man.
Murder at 1600?
Yeah. I think my favorite one is his Fugitive. I think they call it Most Wanted.
Oh, yeah. The with
U.S. Marshal.
U.S. Marshal, thank you. With Tommy Lee. Yeah.
Yep. And damn, my man, I'm forgetting his name. It's gonna bother me.
Demolition Man's a good one too. That was the one where he was
I wish he didn't have blonde hair, but Demolition Man is good. Yes.
Yep.
It's weird.
He's fighting Sylvester Stallone.
Yes.
And I was like, you would have really whooped his behind. That's
all day.
Like
all day.
Yeah.
All day.
Yep.
That was also what led to Dennis Rodman getting blonde hair. So I mean, if we like blonde hair Dennis Rodman,
I mean, look, Cisco, you know what I'm saying? Now
Drew Hill.
Now we're back in the 90s.
I got you.
Yes.
All right. You're the DJ at the end of the fireworks, Woodward and Jefferson. You get to play 2 songs. What songs you play?
Ooh. Okay, because it's the end of the fireworks and I get 2 songs, Will Smith's Summertime is probably almost definitely going to be one of them.
I like it.
And then the second one is tough. I'm going back and forth between Low End Theory and The Roots. I would probably say, okay, so because I know it's up and I want to keep the energy up, I'll probably go with The Roots Proceed. But and this is going to sound crazy, Carl Thomas Summer Rain, as people are just like walking out and leaving and going home, that
I like that. I like that song. Yeah, that's one. But you know what's also interesting that you bring that up? I don't know if people remember this because I was there. You may have been there too. The first electronic music festival, The Roots were one of the performers.
Yes, they were.
And I swear it was like me and maybe like 75 people when they performed. It wasn't many people.
Nope. Back when it was Demph.
And I didn't even think that it would become what it was. Then it just got exponentially large when George Clinton did it. And I remember that because I was basketball fan. That was when the referees wanted the Lakers to beat the Sacramento Kings.
And that is exactly what happened. But you know what else sneaks in there? I don't know how I forgot about this. Leade, Just to Get By.
Okay, yeah, that fits. But I was gonna say you would have had 2 Philly songs kind of connected. That weird. I not thinking Philly connection.
Right. Yeah, but I did that with summertime.
You was there for like there for a couple weeks and did some shows there. Philly's one of them interesting cities.
I like Philly. Good food in Philly.
Yeah, definitely. And last question: you could rename Woodward after one Detroiter. Who would it be and why?
So, like on the personal tip, it would be my grandparents. It would be the Beatrice and Ernest Argold.
I love it. I'm not against that.
Yeah, Avenue. Yeah,
I'm not against that. I mean, he kind of knew the streets anyway.
Yeah, he did, man. Yeah, he did. I mean, they just, for me, we want to talk about like where you come from. Mm-hmm. That's foundational. Like my grandparents taught us so much and raised us. Like my cousins, my brother, sister, my family, and that's where we came from. So that's what it would be.
I'm with it. I'm definitely with it. I only got to ask this question now, like all y'all singing. Was y'all like one of them families like around Christmas, y'all would be like all singing together?
Yo, like, yes. And in harmony. And if we ever sang in unison, people got mad. Like my mother would be like, fight for the harmony. I'd be like, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was a little Joe Jackson, but not crazy.
Hilarious. Yeah. Hilarious. Which shout out to Colleen Domingo. He did it.
Yes.
Even though, I mean, I'm gonna call him Cochise the rest of my life. I thought Cochise did an excellent job.
We aged ourselves this whole interview. Yes. Yep.
But Colleen Domingo did a good. I thought that was very interesting.
Yep.
And I do think that, like, Lord knows. I mean, I hope that one day somebody from Gary, Indiana, like, tells more of the Joe Jackson story, because Lord knows,
understand. Yeah,
it's more context to a lot of that stuff.
Absolutely.
And I'm not necessarily saying that, you know what I'm saying. I'm gonna just say it like this: Gary, Indiana it's tough now.
Right,
definitely tougher than when they was there.
Yeah.
But that many kids. You know, first off, you're going to have to be Jehovah's Witness because Christmas going across that far. And birthdays.
Bump that, yeah.
It's like, Jesus gave you life. But you know, what it was, what he had, I mean, and he definitely had talent as a musician himself, what it took, how it got them active and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's, you know, I know the picture that's painted of him, but definitely context of that is certainly needed.
I mean, we all come from somewhere, right? Like, I'm able to say, thankfully, that I had a great upbringing and great family and great support systems. What if I didn't? Like, what if my grandparents weren't my grandparents? What if my parents weren't my parents? Like, what would I have done and where would I have been growing up in those same neighborhoods, right? So I am, whenever I see somebody in that context, whether it's Joe Jackson or Ike Turner, like, you never want to apologize for their behavior, because their behavior is obviously not acceptable. And you also are curious, like, how do people grow into that? What can we as a society do? What do we have to own as community, right? To look out for folks. Yeah,
and definitely, like, I can't think of like a family that has had like, because I mean, really, when if their career just stops at the Jacksons alone,
right.
But Janet,
yeah,
I mean, Michael on his own, even like some of them songs Jermaine had, to the point where, like, I remember maybe it was like 6 years ago, the Jacksons was still doing casino shows.
Yep.
Like, to me, and I mean, more power if you was like a fan like that, but like, I mean, I wouldn't imagine seeing them without it. But yo, it's groups from back then that ain't on no stage.
Look. And I love them. The Temptations still out there touring, man. Temptations, the Four Tops still out there doing it.
I love it too. And shout out to my guy Butch. He's music director for the Four Tops. But it's like with the young dudes and like one of the old. It's like one of the weird. You know what I'm saying? It's like the globe-trotting.
It's intergenerational. That's what it is. It's an intergenerational Temptations at Four Tops.
It was like that because I don't even know how I ended up at it, but it was like that even for Ready for the World. Because I'm like, yo, he wasn't in no goddamn Ready for the World. He's younger than me. I know. I remember. Oh, Sheila. It's like, but it works. You know what I'm saying? As far as I'm concerned, because Lord knows, as they say, if the Rolling Stones can still get out there and barely move and get out and pack stadiums, I want my people to do the same.
Bon Jovi's still out there singing songs. So come on now.
There we go. I'm with it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you for having me.
Yes, sir. Peace.